Hello everybody, Angel Arts here, and welcome back to another episode of Gay Replay Dragon Age Inquisition. In our last episode, we had met up with the the Inquisitor's advisors, well, the advisors, because Andy's not an Inquisitor yet. He talked a bit with Varric, he talked a bit with Solus, some pretty interesting conversations that differed a bit with the dynamic between Art and those characters. And now we're at the war table. Another coin. So I am going to. We do have a new mission here that's specific to a Carta dwarf. The Carta gets its cut. Kadash. Sorry about that lyrium deal at the Conclave going sideways. When I said I expected the talks to blow up, that wasn't what I meant. At least you made it out of there in one piece. You always did have strange luck. I'm not saying where I am now. Let's call it somewhere safe enough and leave the prying eyes guessing. The Dasher's looking for you. Well, for both of us, but mostly you. Angry as a drunk Bronto, he thinks you ran off with his lyrium, Salroka, and now you're hiding from the Carta behind a wall of Inquisition muscle. I'd be careful if I were you. This Carta clan could be useful to us. We should arrange a payoff. I think that would actually be a good idea, bringing the Carta on board, especially with our ties to them. We can subdue this branch of the Carta with little difficulty. We can't openly negotiate with the Carta, but we might get Orzamar's ambassador to do so on our behalf. No, we should arrange a payoff. Yeah.
Let's see what we
Let's
have.
do that. Address a nobleman's concern. So a lot of people were saying they were upset at me. They're like, Angel Arts, you should have sent Cullen on this mission. Cullen, it wasn't very clear. This is the part where a nobleman was trying to hire us to essentially get rid of the refugees off of his land. And Cullen says we could send a few patrols, but I would prefer they help the refugees, not this Lord Kildren. To me, I interpreted that as Cullen really doesn't want to do this. He would much prefer doing this. I didn't know that he meant he was actually going to do this. He just told me he would prefer to do this. So, I don't know. I'm going to choose Cullen this time just to make you guys happy.
All right.
Because it does. I mean, now that you guys pointed it out, yes, that does make sense. And because Andy and Varric are actually getting along pretty well, he definitely wants to do this quest, and we'll have Josephine do the Hard and Hightown quest. So anyway, we already unlocked the hinterlands. I'm not going to the hinterlands because I want to go ahead and check out some stuff around this area off camera. Cassandra disapproves. Call it Codex unlocked. Wow, Cassandra and Andy are going to be very... We're going to have a lot of... yeah, well, world travel. I don't have to world travel yet. We're going to have a bit of... Things are going to be rough a little bit between Cassandra and Andy for a while, and who knows how long that'll last. So... I am curious to... Let me just grab all the codexes just so I can get all the XP, because I've already read these. I didn't think that there would be anything down here behind these locked doors, but since I'm actually a rogue, I'm just gonna open them up and see, because I have no idea. Are these things just locked just because? Oh, there's more. Ooh, there's more. There are more codexes that I haven't been able to read, so I might as well read them then. The Disciples of Andraste. The Disciples of Andraste are unique in all of history. The cult preceded the Chantry and kept itself so hidden and isolated that it has actually survived in modern day. The Disciples made their home high in the Frostback Mountains in a village called Haven, which is now a sanctuary for pilgrims of the Chantry. It is understood that the Disciples were descendants of the first followers of Andraste, who brought her ashes to Ferelden and built a temple to house it. Because they had pledged themselves to the keeping of the Temple of the Sacred Ashes, the Disciples of Andraste never left the Frostbacks. For 900 years, they kept strangers away, killing all who came close, and were completely oblivious to the world that advanced beyond the boundaries of their home. Having developed separately from the traditions of the Andrastian Chantry, the Disciples were led by Reverend Fathers. However, little else is known about the original beliefs of the Disciples, for they had turned from their noble heritage by the time they were discovered. Almost all scholars believe that the centuries-long isolation imposed upon the village led to the necessity for inbreeding. This practice likely led to a greater incidence of madness, which may explain why the cult was, at the time of its discovering in 930, worshipping a high dragon. Oh. According to writings discovered in Haven, the disciples of Andraste showed reverence to the dragon, believing it to be the prophet reborn. The egg clutches and dragonlings of the dragon were afforded great honor for being Andraste's offspring and were cared for by the cult. The dragon never attacked the cult, being cunning enough to recognize how this arrangement benefited it. It is unknown what became of the disciples following their encounter with the hero Ferelden in 930. By the time the Chantry arrived to establish an outpost and rest at Haven, the disciples had disappeared. From before Andrastianism, The Forgotten Fates by Sister Rodwin of Tantervale. Andraste, Bride of the Maker. There was once a tiny fishing village on the waking sea that was set upon by the Tevinter Imperium, which enslaved the villagers to be sold in the markets of Minrathos, leaving behind only the old and the infirm. One of the captives was the child Andraste. She was raised in slavery in a foreign land. She escaped, then made a long and treacherous journey back to her homeland alone. She rose from nothing to be the wife of an Alamari warlord. Each day she sang to the gods, asking them to help her people who remained slaves in Tevinter. The false gods of the mountains and the winds did not answer her, but the true God did. The Maker spoke. He showed her all the words of his hands, the Fade, the world, and all the creatures therein. He showed her how men had forgotten him, lavishing devotion upon mute idols and demons, and how he had left them to their fate. But her voice had reached him and so captivated him that he offered her a place at his side, that she might rule all of creation. I find it so cool in this universe that the Messiah of, at least the Andrastian faith, the Messiah is a female, and not just any female, but a female elf. I just find that so cool. But Andraste would not forsake her people. She begged the Maker to return, to save his children from the cruelty of the Imperium. Reluctantly, the Maker agreed to give man another chance. Andraste went back to her husband, Mafarath, and told him all the Maker had revealed to her. Together, they rallied the Alamari and marched forth against the mage lords of the Imperium, and the Maker was with them. The Maker's sword was creation itself, fire and flood, famine and earthquake. Everywhere they went, Andraste sang to the people of the Maker, and they heard her. The ranks of Andraste's followers grew until they were a vast tide washing over the Imperium. And when Mafarath saw that the people loved Andraste and not him, a worm grew within his heart, gnawing upon it. At last the armies of Andraste and Mafarath stood before the very gates of Minrathos, but Andraste was not with them, for Mafarath had schemed in secret to hand Andraste over to the Tevinter. For this the Archon would give Mafarath all the lands to the south of the Waking Sea. You punk, Mafarath. Jealousy, envy, not a good thing. And so, before all the armies of the Alamari and of Tevinter, Andraste was tied to a stake and burned, while her earthly husband turned his armies aside and did nothing, for his heart had been devoured. But as he watched the pyre, the Archon softened. He took pity on Andraste and drew his sword and granted her the mercy of a quick death. The Maker wept for his beloved, cursed Mafarath, cursed mankind for their betrayal, and turned once again from creation, taking only Andraste with him. And Our Lady still sits at his side, where she still urges him to take pity on his children. From the Sermons of Justinian II. Dawn Lotus and Elfroot. Nice. The Black City. No traveler of the Fade can fail to spot the Black City. It is one of the few constants of that ever-changing place. No matter where one might be, the city is visible. Always far off, for it seems that the only rule of geography in the Fade is that all points are equidistant from the Black City. That is interesting. The chant teaches that the Black City was once the seat of the Maker, from whence he ruled the Fade, left empty when men turned away from him. Dreamers do not go there, nor do spirits. Even the most powerful demons seem to avoid the place. It was golden and beautiful once, so the story goes, until a group of powerful Magister lords from the Tevinter Imperium devised a means of breaking in. When they did so, their presence defiled the city, turning it black, which was perhaps the least of their worries. From Beyond the Veil, Spirits and Demons by Enchanter Miradromil. Alright, is there anything else down here that I can unlock? I thought there were a few others. I mean, I can light this, but... Oh. Here we go. Just opening up your prisons here. Look at me poking around where I shouldn't be. Okay, cool. So I'm just getting craftable items in here. Nothing like... No, like, treasure. I guess they wouldn't keep weapons and armor inside the cells themselves. That would be pretty stupid. Nothing in here. I'm just exploring. Is there anything in here? Oh, nice. Another misplaced notes. Notes written by one of the scholars responsible for restoring Haven. The notes have obviously come close from a ledger of some sort. It took weeks of scrubbing bloodstains from the stone. One of two things is true. Either stone is more porous than I thought, or Maker's beard. There must have been a lot of blood. How many people died? I'm so relieved that I didn't have to deal with the altars of sacrifice the first arrivals found. Those were tossed off a cliff, I think. So now we just have to deal with the stains on the walls and floors. If this doesn't clean up in a day or two, I'm asking for some fresh plaster. Maybe we can cover them up. Still, it's not all bad. Haven is a beautiful place, and while working in the dungeons, we found scraps of paper with writing that looks like Brother Ferdinand Genitivi's. He was held here for weeks before the hero Ferelden found him. Yep, that's true. Cool. All these interesting new things that you can find now that we're rogue. Nope, nothing in there. Alright. The next thing I want to do is I am going to start chatting with people. And I believe the first person that Andy wants to talk to is going to be Cullen. So he is going to specifically seek him out because he's very intrigued by that hunky man of a Templar. He has zero issues with Cullen being a Templar. He actually thinks that Templar will help keep things in order from mages and stuff. I don't think that Andy is against mages at all either. He just, again, he has that whole trust thing. He has a trust problem. And I guess he kind of is a little wary against mages because he just doesn't understand. He's a dwarf. He doesn't understand magic. He doesn't really get magic. So, yeah, of course he'll be a little wary of mages.
You there. There's a shield in your hand. Block with it. If this man were your enemy, you'd be dead. Lieutenant, don't hold back. The recruits must prepare for a real fight, not a practice one.
Yes, Commander.
We've received a number of recruits. Locals from Haven and some pilgrims. None made quite the entrance you did.
I think Andy's gonna like try to charm his way with this guy. I like to stand out.
At least I got everyone's attention.
That you did.
Even
I
yours,
was recruited
Cullen?
to the Inquisition in Kirkwall myself. I was there during the Mage Uprising. I saw firsthand the devastation it caused.
Sir.
Cassandra sought a solution. When she offered me a position, I left the Templars to join her cause. Now it seems we face something far worse.
Do you trust the Inquisition?
You left the Templars for this. You believe the Inquisition can work?
I do. The Chantry lost control of both Templars and Mages. Now they argue over a new divine while the breach remains. The Inquisition could act when the Chantry cannot. Our followers would be part of that. There's so much we can... Forgive me. I doubt you came here for a lecture.
Oh yeah. I mean, we already know what happened. I just want to see it. I just want to see it again, so badly. Because Andy would. I think Andy is not shy when it comes to someone that he's attracted to. If he's interested in it, he will let you know. He's not shy at all.
No, but if you have one prepared, I'd love to hear it.
Another time, perhaps. Still a lot of work ahead.
Commander,
Sir Ryden has a report on our supply lines.
As I was saying.
Andy's face was perfect. His grin, he was like, hey. And he's persistent.
Yes?
So, he's cutting to the chase. Are you with anyone? Pleasantries aside, he just wants to get this out of the way.
Did you leave anyone behind in Kirkwall?
No. I fear I made few friends there, and my family's in Ferelden.
No one special caught your interest?
I can't say I was looking. Honestly, I was not good company back then.
I might enjoy your company.
I would value your friendship. I'm afraid I cannot offer more.
It's okay, Cullen.
I trust you'll understand.
And he's like leaning. He's like, yeah. Oh my gosh. He understands. He's disappointed, but he understands. All right. Well, at least he can still
Was there something you needed?
appreciate him from afar.
I should get to know you better. We're working together after all.
What would you like to know?
All right. Where are you from?
I grew up in Ferelden, near Homburg. I was transferred to Kirkwall shortly after the Blight. This is the first I've returned in almost 10 years.
Varric's from Kirkwall.
Varric's from Kirkwall. Did you two know each other?
I knew he was friends with the champion of Kirkwall, but little else. We've spoken more since I joined the Inquisition, largely at Varric's insistence. Apparently, I spend too much time with a serious expression on my face, and it's bad for my health.
You haven't seen Ferelden in 10 years. Are you glad to be back?
I was not sorry to leave at the time. I did not expect to return. Now, between the Divine's murder and the breach, I've arrived to find nothing but chaos.
What was Kirkwall like?
While I was there, Canary occupied and then attacked the city. The Viscount's murder caused political unrest. Relations between mages and Templars fell apart. An apostate blew up the Chantry.
There is that.
The Knight Commander went mad.
There's that
Other
too.
than that, it was fine.
What happened between Kirkwall's mages and Templars?
You were at the Conclave. You must have heard people speak of it.
Yes, but you were there.
There was tension between mages and Templars long before I arrived. Eventually, it reached a breaking point. There was fighting in the streets. Abominations began killing both sides. It was a nightmare.
What happened then?
The Templars should have restored order. But Red Lyrian had driven Knight Commander Meredith mad. She threatened to kill Kirkwall's champion. Turned on her own men. I'm not sure how far she would have gone. Too far.
So you opposed her?
I stood with the champion against her, in the end. I should have seen through Meredith sooner.
You were in Ferelden during the Blight. Did you fight Darkspawn?
No. I was stationed at Ferelden's Circle Tower. The Circle had troubles of its own. I remained there during the Blight.
What happened at the Circle Tower?
Few who survived the Blight have fond memories of that time. I would prefer not to speak.
All right.
I'll let you return to your work.
Should you require anything, I'll be here. Was there something you needed?
I'd like to know more about the Templars.
If you need insight into what the Order is doing now, I'm afraid I can't offer more than you already know. Anything else, I will answer as best I can.
Why did you join the Order?
I could think of no better calling than to protect those in need. I used to beg the Templars at our local chantry to teach me. At first, they merely humored me. I must have shown promise, or at least a willingness to learn. The Knight Captain spoke to my parents on my behalf. They agreed to send me for training. I was 13 when I left home.
13? It's still so young.
I wasn't the youngest there. Some children are promised to the Order at infancy. Still, I didn't take on full responsibilities until I was 18. The Order sees you trained and educated first.
What about your family? Did you miss them?
Of course, but there were many my age who felt the same. We learned to look out for one another.
Do the Templars do anything besides hunt mages?
Templars protect against the dangers of magic. Before the Order left the Chantry, that meant serving in a circle. They were also tasked with tracking apostates, or fighting demons inevitably summoned by the weak or malicious.
What do you think of mages? Are they all a threat?
I've seen the suffering magic can inflict. I've treated mages with distrust because of it, at times without cause. That was unworthy of me. I will try not to do so here. Not that I want mages moving through our base completely unchecked. We need safeguards in place to protect people, including mages, from possession at the least.
Reasonable.
What does Templar training involve?
There is weapon and combat training. Even without their abilities, Templars are among the best warriors in Thedas. Initiates must also memorize portions of the Chant of Light, study history, and improve their mental focus.
Do you enjoy your training?
Learn everything. If I was giving my life to this, I would be the best Templar I could.
You were a model student.
I wanted to be. I wasn't always successful. Watching a candle burn down while reciting the Chant of Transfiguration wasn't the most exciting task. And I admit, my mind sometimes wandered.
I think Andy's mind is starting to wander a little bit as he's talking to Cullen. It's like, what are you saying? I didn't quite... You know, it doesn't matter. Just keep talking. And I'll just keep watching you.
You've lived in the Circle. What was a typical day for a Templar there?
Typical. The last time I was in a circle was right before it fell apart. Nothing was typical.
Before that day?
Certain rituals require a full guard. A mage's howling, for instance. I've attended a few. Most of the time you merely maintain a presence, on patrol or in the circle, ready to respond if needed. Mages pretend to ignore that presence, but they're watching you just as closely.
The Templars and mages never speak to each other.
Some do, but Templars are supposed to maintain a certain distance from their charges. If a mage is possessed or uses blood magic, you must act quickly, without hesitation. Your judgment cannot be clouded. Of course, ignoring one another does nothing to foster understanding.
Do Templars take vows? I swear to the Maker to watch all the mages, that sort of thing.
There's a vigil first. You're meant to be at peace during that time, but your life is about to change. When it's over, you give yourself to a life of service. That's when you're given a filter, your first draft of lyrium and its power. As Templars, we are not to seek wealth or acknowledgement. Our lives belong to the Maker and the path we have chosen.
That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Should you require anything, I'll be here. Yes?
What do you think of the people you work with?
What do you mean?
What do you think of our ambassador?
We have little in common. How she delights in meeting with nobles all day is beyond me. But I enjoy working with her.
How do you like working with Leliana?
The Inquisition would not exist without her. I may not always agree with her methods, but she's more passionate about our cause than anyone. Cassandra may have declared the Inquisition publicly. Leliana is just as responsible for its formation.
Are you satisfied with the Inquisition's forces?
Our numbers are small, but they suit our needs for the time being. Some Templars have joined us instead of following the Order. They've proven invaluable in training new recruits.
I should let you get back to work.
Did you need something?
Why would Templars break away from the Chantry?
The Order believes the Chantry no longer supports their efforts. Not to the extent they should.
But the Templars have served the Chantry for ages.
And in that time, they've come to take the Order's services for granted. Templars risk their lives against blood magic, demons, abominations, to feel as if those efforts are dismissed. I may disagree with the Order's actions, but I'm here as proof of it. But I sympathize with their frustrations.
Is there anything I should know?
Not at present.
That's all for now.
Another time, then.
Alright, the other person that Andy wants to talk to is Leliana. Oh yeah, Ginger sticking together. So we'll talk to Jen and Liliana, and then after that, we'll probably save Cassandra and Josephine for the next video. Is Liliana still here? Okay. Talking with Liliana is gonna be interesting, considering how she's about to question her faith, and Andy never really had it to begin with.
Blessed are the peacekeepers, the champions of the just. Blessed are the righteous, the lights in the shadow. In their blood, the Maker's will is written. Is that what you want from us? Blood. To die so that your will is done? Is death your only blessing? You speak for Andraste, no? What does the Maker's prophet have to say about all of this? What's his game?
He's like, no, Leliana, no. I'm as confused as you. I can't speak for Andraste. Bad things happen. I'm as confused as you, honey.
Don't ask me. I'm as baffled as you are.
You probably don't even worship the Maker. Lucky. He asks a lot. The Chantry teaches that the Maker abandoned us. He demands repentance for our sins. He demands it all. Our lives, our deaths. Justinia gave him everything she had, and he let her die.
People are killed all the time.
If the Maker doesn't intervene to save the best of his servants, what good is he? I used to believe I was chosen, just as some say you are. I thought I was fulfilling his purpose for me, working with the Divine, helping people. But now she's dead. It was all for nothing. Serving the Maker meant nothing.
These are your problems. No, he likes Leliana. But why are you telling me this?
I'm not really the best person to talk to. Doesn't the Chantry have people for this?
So I should let a priest comfort me? No, this is my burden. I regret that I even let you see me like this. It was a moment of weakness. It won't happen again. Come. To work, then. We will speak later.
Okay. I thought that lady was supposed to... Oh, somebody's gonna go talk to Leliana. There we go.
So it's true. Butler has stand on us. I hope my hunch was wrong.
You knew him well?
Not as well as I thought. Show me the reports.
Alright.
There were so many questions surrounding Faria's death. Did he think we wouldn't notice? He's killed Faria, one of my best agents, and knows where the others are. You know what must be done. Make it clean. Painless if you can. We were friends once.
Yeah, unlike Art, Andy's gonna speak up. Traitors, yeah, I think he believes traitors deserve to die. And charged Leliana to kill the traitor agent. Yeah, traitors... He's super loyal to his friends. Which is why, at the same token, if somebody betrays you like that, especially to the point of killing someone, traitors deserve to die.
Glad to see traitors are dealt with quickly.
We must do whatever it takes to protect our interests. I am pleased that you agree.
I just hate traitors.
I have no tolerance for traitors.
You take a harsh view. But I suppose that is the way in these troubled times. We will make the Inquisition a force to fear. Now, if you're happy, I have more work to do.
Now that you're happy. A little bit of a snide remark there, Leliana.
Reports of fade rifts and demons keep coming. The people are terrified, and it's only getting worse. The only thing that will calm their fears now is the hope that someone out there can save them. You have to be that someone. No one else has any power over the rifts. Seal them. Your legend will spread, and Thedas will learn to trust the Inquisition.
Why do you want me to seek out the rebel mages? Why do you care?
I've known mages. Some of them were better people than me. And yet I'm free and they're not. It's not right.
Let's talk about you.
Me?
What did you do before you worked for the Divine?
I was a bard, an Orlesian spy for many years. For a time, I also served a small cloister in Lothering. After the Blight, the Divine called on me to oversee her personal network.
I'd like to be a bard, actually.
Can you teach me to be a bard?
Being a bard is so much more than being a spy. It involves a keen understanding of politics, the ebb and flow of influence, the great game. The bard's is an intricate dance where a smile can be sharper than any dagger. The best way to learn is to immerse yourself in it. Perhaps when this is all over, I'll teach you.
Bards tell tales. I bet you
He
tell
loves
some good
tales,
ones.
Andy does.
There are plenty of tales in the library. Perhaps you should look for them there.
Oh,
I
Leliana.
should leave you to your work.
We can always talk
Come
later.
on, I thought our gingerness. I thought we understood each other.
Did you need
Our
something?
gingerness, come on. You're well connected.
You seem to know a great many people.
I have made friends, and on occasion enemies. It's unavoidable.
You have a history with the Warden who ended the Blight, don't you?
I count her among my closest
Oh, it's a
friends.
she, that's right.
She's probably the only person I trust completely. I haven't heard from her in some time. She just disappeared. I try not to think about what might have happened.
I feel like in this version, I want to say that in this version, my warden was a female noble, and she ended up marrying Alistair as king and queen.
They say you spent some time in Lothering. Did you know the champion?
We spoke a few times. I seldom left the Chantry, and we never became more than casual acquaintances. I saw more of the Hog twins. Bethany in particular. She would spend time in meditation at the Chantry, and she seemed to like my stories. The other one, the young man, he was a little surly. I did encounter the champion again later in Kirkwall. Those were terrible times.
Was this when the Chantry was destroyed?
No, that happened later. But even then, the news coming out of Kirkwall was disheartening. There were some in Val Rayo who wanted the Divine to declare an exalted march on Kirkwall. Justina sent me there to see if that could be avoided, to gather evidence to calm those agitating for war. I guess it didn't matter in the end.
We can continue this conversation later.
You know where I am. I'm listening.
You seem to know a great many people.
I have made friends, and on occasion enemies. It's unavoidable.
You seem to know Josephine quite well.
I met her a long time ago, but we didn't become good friends until years later. After the Blight, in fact. I'd just returned to Val Rayo, and she welcomed me back by throwing a diplomatic ball. She was the Antivan ambassador at the time, you see. The ball was... alright. Too many politicians. At midnight, Josie and I left to find a real party.
Alright.
We've been friends ever since.
What do you consider a real party?
It's not a real party until someone's small clothes are pinned to a chantry board. And that's all I'm saying about it.
We can continue this conversation later.
You know where I am. I'm listening.
They called you the left hand of the Divine.
That they did. What of it?
What exactly does the left hand of the Divine do?
A Divine always has enemies. And Justinia had more than most. I protected her. I watched, had an ear to every door. I identified threats, and I dealt with them.
Why did Justinia have so many enemies?
There were many who felt she was unfit to be divine. She had a past, a worldly life. Unlike many, she wasn't given to the Chantry as a child. She chose it, and somehow that made her unworthy. And because they thought she was unworthy, they wished her harm.
So you were her spy master too?
I handled difficult situations that couldn't be resolved through more delicate means.
I could use the left hand of the Divine at my side out there.
Every agent out in the world is my eyes, my ears, my blade. Wherever my people are, I am also. Coming with you, leaving my post, would blind and bound me. Do you see?
It is, I realize that actually is a decent explanation as to why you can't put Leliana in your party. It's a decent explanation.
What is the point of an Inquisition?
Justinia would have started the Inquisition if the Divine Conclave failed to restore peace. She hoped that with enough support, we could challenge the very tenets of the Chantry. She wanted the Chantry to treat the mages fairly. But sometimes I wonder, why stop at mages? The Chantry has committed many injustices. If we're going to change it, why not change the whole thing? It's just a thought. None of this will be possible if we fail.
Are you saying we'll fail without the Divine?
I'm saying I thought it would be her leading us. Nothing more.
I'd like to hear about Justinia. What was she like?
A friend. A mentor. Like me, she had secrets, made mistakes. It made her human. I think her followers responded to that.
I think Andy kind of responds to that too. If Divine Justinia had a worldly past, Andy can kind of get behind that. He kind of has a little bit more respect for Divine Justinia because of that.
How did you and Justinia meet?
I met her a long time ago, before she became divine. Before she was Justinia. When I met her, she was Mother Dorothea. I was at my lowest. Broken, lost. And she saved me. No, wait. She hates it when I say that. I saved myself. She just showed me it was possible.
Was there something more than friendship between you?
You're asking if we were lovers? Typical. I was devoted to her, therefore it must be romantic. Love is common. Love is simple. My bond with Justinia was something greater. She was a sister, a mother, a teacher. So to answer your question, yes, it was more than friendship.
We'll talk more later.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you guys for watching this episode of Gay Replay Dragon Age Inquisition. Tune in next time, and until then, everybody, love yourselves and love each other.